When someone humiliates you in front of others, do this and people will respect you immediately. Imagine this. You're in the middle of a conversation, maybe even the center of attention, when suddenly someone throws a verbal jab. It's sharp, unexpected, and delivered with the kind of confidence that makes everyone around you pause. The crowd falls silent. You feel the heat rise in your face, your heart starts to race, and your stomach sinks because you've just been humiliated. Not privately, not in the comfort of your own space, but right there in front of everyone. Does this sound familiar? Maybe it's happened to you before. Maybe you've been the target of cruel words or cutting remarks, and in that moment, it felt like your world was turned upside down. It's an awful feeling. You feel small, vulnerable, powerless, like your dignity has been stripped away. And in that moment, it's hard to think clearly. The anger, the embarrassment, the need to defend yourself, all rush to the surface. But here's the truth. In that moment, you have a choice. You can either react in a way that makes you appear weak, or you can respond in a way that commands respect. So what do? How do you handle it when someone humiliates you in front of a group, when the eyes of everyone in the room are on you, waiting to see how you'll respond? The answer might surprise you because it's not about fighting back, getting even, or throwing insults right back at them. No, the secret to gaining respect in that moment is much more powerful, much more subtle, and much more effective. Here's the thing. Your reaction in that moment will not only define how others see you, it will define how you see yourself. If you let humiliation dictate your next move, you'll find yourself sinking lower, playing into the hands of those who seek to diminish you. But if you handle it with composure, grace, and intelligence, you'll not only earn the respect of those around you, but you'll also gain something even more valuable, your own self-respect. In this video, I'm going to share with you the exact steps you can take when faced with humiliation, and how to turn that potentially devastating moment into an opportunity for respect, growth, and personal power. By the time we're done, you'll know how to handle any humiliating situation with confidence and grace, and how to walk away stronger than before. Because here's the truth. When someone humiliates you in front of others, do this, and people will respect you immediately. Number 1, understanding humiliation. Humiliation is more than just an unpleasant feeling. It's a deeply emotional experience that goes straight to our core. At its heart, humiliation is a wound to our dignity and self-worth. Unlike embarrassment, which is often fleeting and tied to a specific situation, humiliation has the power to linger and leave a lasting mark on our sense of self. Psychologically, humiliation activates our fight or flight response. It's not just an emotional experience, it's a physiological one. When we feel humiliated, our brain goes into defensive mode. We feel exposed, vulnerable, and small. The reason humiliation hurts so much is because it challenges our sense of identity and social standing. Humans are social creatures, and our status in the eyes of others matters deeply to us. When someone publicly humiliates us, they don't just attack our behavior, they attack our very essence, our place in the social hierarchy. Humiliation has the power to feel like an assault on your very existence. It's not just that you were wronged or embarrassed. In that moment, you are made to feel lesser than, insignificant, inferior. And as much as we may wish to dismiss it, the truth is that those feelings are incredibly powerful. But here's the thing, humiliation is also a tool. People use it, consciously or unconsciously, as a way to control others or elevate their own status. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone humiliate another in front of a group to establish dominance, to make them seem more powerful, or to create a power imbalance? The person doing the humiliating might believe that by making you feel small, they are elevating themselves in the eyes of the people around them. And while this might work in the short term for them, it's important to recognize that humiliation is not a reflection of who you are. It's a reflection of the insecurities, biases, and manipulations of the person trying to degrade you. The impact of humiliation is profound. When we are humiliated, we often feel exposed in front of others, which is one of the worst feelings a person can experience. It's a loss of control, a feeling of helplessness, and for many, it can lead to shame, that gnawing feeling that something is inherently wrong with us. The emotional bruises from humiliation often lead to lowered self-esteem, anxiety, and even depression if left unchecked. It can cause someone to withdraw socially, become self-conscious, or at its worst, question their own worth. But even though humiliation makes us feel powerless in the moment, it doesn't have to define us. The most dangerous thing about humiliation is not necessarily the words or actions that caused it, but how we internalize it. If we allow humiliation to take root in our minds, it can affect our future interactions, our self-worth, and our mental state for years to come. Humiliation also creates a toxic environment. If you react impulsively, you might find yourself drawn into a cycle of retaliation and counterattacks. The problem is that once the cycle begins, it only deepens the wounds and feeds the negative emotions. The person humiliating you may be seeking their own validation or attempting to assert control, but this kind of behavior only creates more tension, more animosity, and more emotional harm for everyone involved. It's important to note that there is a difference between healthy confrontation and toxic humiliation. Healthy confrontation involves discussing issues respectfully, addressing wrongs, and finding common ground. Humiliation, on the other hand, is about exerting power by degrading someone else, often in public, for the sake of making them feel small. The key difference is that confrontation seeks resolution, while humiliation seeks dominance. Let's consider how others perceive you when you're humiliated in public. When someone makes an attempt to humiliate you, the people around you are likely to have mixed reactions. Some may empathize with you, feeling discomfort or even shame on your behalf. Others may judge the situation, looking to see how you react. In many cases, people will size up your reaction to determine your strength, your vulnerability, and your worth. Humiliation doesn't just affect you, it affects the way others perceive you. People are watching how you handle this. If you allow the humiliation to derail you, if you react with anger, frustration, or defensiveness, others might perceive you as weak or easily rattled. However, if you respond with composure, dignity, and grace, those same people will see you as strong, confident, and resilient. The way you handle humiliation not only determines how you feel about yourself, but also how others will respect you. If you are able to maintain your composure, you send a clear message to everyone watching. I am not defined by this. I am bigger than this moment. Number 2, the power of silence. So now that we understand the emotional and social dynamics of humiliation, the big question is, what do you do when it happens to you? The first and most important rule is simple. Stay silent. When someone humiliates you, your natural instinct might be to defend yourself, to fight back, or to immediately retaliate. But reacting in anger or defensiveness rarely works. In fact, it often makes things worse. Why? Because in the heat of the moment, emotions cloud our judgment, and our words can become weapons that further fuel the fire. Once you start defending yourself, you might find that the person humiliating you will escalate the situation, turning it into a back-and-forth battle where no one wins. Silence, on the other hand, disarms the situation. When you choose not to react, it throws the person who is humiliating you off balance. They might expect you to get angry, to try to justify yourself, or to defend your honor. But when you don't engage, you make it clear that their words have no power over you. The power of non-reaction lies in the fact that it leaves the humiliator with nowhere to go. They wanted a reaction from you. They wanted to see you squirm, to get emotional, or to give them the satisfaction of knowing they got to you. But when you stay calm and silent, you take the power away from them. Moreover, silence allows you to regain control over the situation. Instead of letting your emotions dictate your actions, you give yourself the space to think clearly, to breathe, and to assess how best to proceed. This moment of stillness can be incredibly powerful, both for you and for those watching. Physiologically, staying calm and silent helps you regain composure. Your heart rate slows down, your breath becomes deeper, and your mind becomes clearer. This calmness allows you to make a more rational decision about how to respond when the time is right. You might find that when you take a moment to breathe and collect yourself, you feel empowered, not powerless. Silence is a statement in itself. It's an indication of strength, control, and emotional maturity. When you remain silent after being humiliated, You project an aura of calm that says, I am in control of myself. Your words don't affect me. In many ways, silence shows others that you are not easily shaken. It tells them that you are not so fragile that a cruel word or an insult can break you. In fact, when you handle humiliation with poise, you immediately elevate your status in the eyes of those watching. They see you as someone who commands respect, someone who knows their worth, and someone who is above petty attacks. On a psychological level, silence shifts the power dynamics. The humiliator expected a response, and by not giving one, you regain the upper hand. People who are able to maintain composure in the face of adversity often become the people others look up to. Why? Because they've shown that they are not easily manipulated by the opinions or actions of others. They are self-sufficient, secure, and unshaken. The power of silence is not just a theory, it's been demonstrated by some of the most influential people in history. Take, for example, Mahatma Gandhi. During India's fight for independence, Gandhi was often publicly humiliated, imprisoned, and challenged by the British. Yet one of his greatest strengths was his ability to remain calm, composed, and silent in the face of oppression. He knew that silence wasn't weakness, it was a tool of strength. His refusal to respond with violence or anger turned him into a global symbol of peaceful resistance, earning him the respect of millions. Another famous example is Nelson Mandela, who endured years of imprisonment and public humiliation. Despite facing intense hardship and cruelty, Mandela's silence and dignified responses to his oppressors allowed him to become a beacon of hope and strength for an entire nation. He showed the world that it's possible to maintain your dignity, even when others try to strip it away. Even in our everyday lives, silence can be a powerful tool. Think of those moments when someone tries to provoke you, to bait you into an argument or a confrontation. The people who stay silent and walk away with their heads held high are often the ones who gain the most respect from others. Their calmness in the face of adversity speaks volumes. Number 3, maintaining your dignity. Don't lower yourself to their level. When someone humiliates you in front of others, your first instinct might be to fight back, to get them back, or to engage in a verbal back and forth. But this is the trap. When you allow yourself to be dragged into a petty exchange, you lower your own dignity, and you risk becoming just like the person who humiliated you. It's easy to fall into this trap. We all have moments when we want to defend our honor, when we want to make the person who humiliated us feel the same way we do. But responding with insults or bitterness doesn't restore your dignity. It diminishes it. When you retaliate, you become part of the toxic dynamic. You're no longer the calm, composed person who commands respect. Instead, you become someone reacting out of hurt, anger, or fear. The risk of engaging in petty back and forths is that you're no longer the person with control. The person who humiliated you has now gained a sense of power because you've allowed them to dictate the conversation. By choosing not to engage in their game, you take away that power. You refuse to let their words dictate your worth. Preserving your self-respect means refusing to be provoked. Instead of lowering yourself to their level, rise above it. You don't need to justify yourself, explain yourself, or stoop to their level. By keeping your composure, you show the world that you don't need to tear others down to feel strong. You are already strong, no matter what they say. How to preserve your self-respect? Refuse to be provoked. Remember that you are not obligated to engage in every argument. Don't stoop to their level. The more you retaliate, the more you play into their hands. Stay elevated. Trust your worth. Know that their words don't change who you are. Body language and nonverbal cues. In any interaction, your body language speaks volumes. This is especially true when you're facing humiliation. Your posture, facial expressions, and even your breath can either reinforce the humiliation or help you maintain control over your emotions and your dignity. Here's how you can use body language to project strength and calm. Stand tall. One of the most powerful ways to communicate that you are not affected by the situation is to maintain good posture. Straighten your back, keep your shoulders back, and stand with confidence. When you do this, you project authority and self-assurance. People are much less likely to challenge someone who exudes calm and composure. Control your breathing. Humiliation triggers a stress response, and your breath becomes shallow or erratic. Take slow, deliberate breaths deep into your belly to calm yourself. This not only helps lower your heart rate, but it also prevents your emotions from getting the best of you. Breathe in through your nose for 4 counts, hold for 4, and exhale for 4. This practice helps you to stay grounded. Avoid signs of weakness. When we're uncomfortable or nervous, we tend to show signs of vulnerability, like looking down, fidgeting, or shaking our hands. Avoid these signs of weakness. Keep your gaze steady, your hands relaxed but still, and your facial expression neutral. Don't shrink into yourself. Your body language should communicate that you are not affected by what's happening. Your body language not only shows how you're feeling, but also influences how others perceive you. When you project calm, even if you're feeling turmoil inside, others will notice and respect you for it. You're showing them that you won't be rattled by external forces. Your calmness becomes contagious, setting the tone for how others will react. The art of grace under pressure. The ability to remain graceful under pressure is one of the most powerful tools you can cultivate. Humiliation, no matter how difficult, doesn't have to knock you down. You can accept it without allowing it to defeat you. But grace under pressure is an art. It's about maintaining poise, dignity, and composure even when the situation tries to rattle you. Here's how to practice grace under pressure. 1. Don't show anger. Anger is a natural response to being humiliated, but showing it only weakens your position. It's easy to lash out, to argue, or to defend yourself aggressively. But in doing so, you risk making the situation worse, escalating the humiliation instead of diffusing it. Instead, maintain a composed demeanor. Don't let anger take the wheel. Your ability to keep it in check demonstrates emotional strength. 2. Don't let the humiliation land. The key to grace under pressure is that you don't internalize the humiliation. You acknowledge it, but you don't let it affect your self-worth. Imagine the humiliation is like a hot object. If you grab it with your bare hands, it burns you. But if you choose not to touch it, you remain unscathed. By not letting the humiliation sink into your psyche, you preserve your self-respect. Managing your internal emotions. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by anger, embarrassment, or shame in the heat of the moment. But self-talk, the way you talk to yourself, can help you regain control. Tell yourself, I am above this, or this does not define me. Remind yourself of your worth. The more you practice positive self-talk in challenging situations, the more resilient you will become. Grace is about acknowledging your feelings without letting them take over. You don't have to suppress your emotions, but you choose how to respond. It's the difference between being reactive and being proactive. By remaining graceful, you show that you are the one who is in control, not the person trying to humiliate you. Number 4, responding with intelligence. When you're faced with humiliation, timing is everything. While silence is often the best immediate response, there are times when it's appropriate to speak up. The key is knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. Strategic timing means waiting until you've collected your thoughts and emotions. Responding while you're still emotional might lead you to say something you'll regret. Wait for the right moment to speak, one when your emotions have settled and you're able to approach the situation with clarity and purpose. A thoughtful, well-timed response shows that you are in control of the situation. You're not reacting impulsively to someone's attack. You're responding from a place of wisdom. By waiting for the right time, you create a sense of authority and poise. When should you speak? When you feel calm and collected enough to make your point with clarity. When you sense that silence has served its purpose and it's time to shift the dynamic. When your words will add value to the situation, not escalate it further. Using wit and humor. One of the most powerful ways to diffuse humiliation is with wit and humor. Humor is a tool of strength. It can disarm a hostile situation, turn the tables on the humiliator, and diffuse tension in the room. But here's the key. The humor must be non-defensive. A well-timed joke or witty remark can completely shift the power dynamics. When you respond with humor, you are not only showing that you are unshaken, but you also make the humiliator look foolish. The key is to keep it lighthearted, not mean-spirited. The difference between humor as a coping mechanism and humor as a power play is intent. If your goal is to put the other person down, it's not humor, it's retaliation. But if your goal is to break the tension and regain control, your humor becomes a power play. For example, imagine someone mocks you for a mistake you made in a meeting. Instead of getting defensive, you might say something like, "Well, I guess I'm just keeping things interesting." You've acknowledged the situation with humor, but you haven't let it derail you. You've taken control of the narrative and put the power back in your hands. The power of a thoughtful response. When the moment is right to respond, a calm and intelligent answer will always command more respect than a defensive or angry outburst. Your response doesn't need to be long-winded or overly detailed. It just needs to be clear, concise, and focused on the issue, not the person. Instead of attacking the person who humiliated you, focus on addressing the behavior. For instance, you might say, "I don't think that was an appropriate way to address me," or "I don't appreciate being spoken to like that." This keeps the conversation grounded in the issue, not personal attacks. A thoughtful response shows maturity and strength. It demonstrates that you are not rattled by their behavior and that you are above engaging in petty arguments. It shows that you value yourself enough not to sink to their level. A well-thought-out answer communicates that you are the bigger person, someone who handles difficult situations with grace, intelligence, and dignity. Number 5, managing emotions in the moment. One of the most important skills you can develop when faced with humiliation is recognizing your emotional triggers before they explode. Humiliation tends to stir up powerful emotions: anger, embarrassment, frustration, shame. And these emotions can cloud your judgment, causing you to react impulsively or defensively. But when you are able to identify your triggers in advance, you can prepare yourself to handle them with poise. What are emotional triggers? These are specific situations, words, or behaviors that cause you to feel a sudden emotional response. For example, someone mocking your appearance might trigger feelings of inadequacy, or a colleague undermining your ideas could spark frustration. Humiliation is often the result of these emotional triggers. Someone says or does something that pushes you into an emotional state of vulnerability. The first step in managing your emotions is to recognize what sets you off. Take a moment to reflect on past situations where you felt humiliated, angry, or defensive. What was it about that moment that triggered your response? Was it the tone of voice? The context of the situation? Understanding your triggers gives you the power to anticipate and diffuse your emotional reactions in the future. How to identify your emotional triggers? Know your hot buttons. Are there specific comments or behaviors that consistently make you feel attacked or defensive? Write them down and analyze why they affect you. Stay self-aware. When someone humiliates you, pay attention to how your body and mind react. Does your heart race? Do you feel hot or flushed? These physical sensations are clues that your emotions are being triggered. Understand your patterns. Do certain situations or people tend to make you feel more vulnerable? Identifying these patterns helps you understand why you react the way you do and gives you the opportunity to develop better coping strategies. Once you recognize your emotional triggers, you can create a mental framework that helps you respond calmly. You can choose not to engage with those triggers, choosing instead to maintain your composure and dignity. Techniques for staying in control of your emotions in the heat of the moment. In the heat of the moment, emotions can surge, making it challenging to stay composed. But there are techniques you can practice to regain control over your emotional state. Pause and breathe. One of the most effective tools you have is the ability to pause before reacting. When you feel your emotions rising, take a deep breath and give yourself a few seconds to regroup. In those few seconds, focus on breathing deeply. Inhale slowly through your nose, hold for a few seconds, and exhale slowly through your mouth. This simple technique lowers your heart rate and helps you regain clarity. Mindful awareness. During moments of intense emotion, practice mindful awareness. Focus on the present moment, not on your emotional reaction. Observe the sensations in your body, tightness in the chest, tension in the shoulders, etc., and remind yourself that you don't have to act on these feelings. Let the emotions come and go without letting them dictate your behavior. Detachment. Another technique is to mentally detach yourself from the situation. View the humiliator's actions as a reflection of them, not of you. This means that the behavior of the person humiliating you is not a reflection of your worth, but a reflection of their character or insecurities. By mentally detaching, you create emotional distance, which gives you the space to respond more thoughtfully. Shift focus. Focus on your breathing, your body, or a positive thought. When you shift focus away from the emotional heat of the moment, it's easier to regain control of your feelings. This strategy works particularly well when you're trying to not react emotionally to an inflammatory comment or insult. Use mantras. Have a few mental mantras ready to go. Simple phrases like, "I am in control, this too shall pass," or "I am bigger than this moment." Repeating these mantras can help you refocus your mind and maintain composure. By using these techniques, you can prevent your emotions from getting the better of you, allowing you to respond with calm and control. In the end, managing your emotions is about taking back your power. You decide how you react, and you choose how to move forward. Reframing the situation. Reframing is a powerful technique that involves changing your perspective on the situation. When someone humiliates you, your initial instinct is to take it personally. You might feel belittled, worthless, or embarrassed. But reframing allows you to look at the humiliation through a different lens, helping you see it as a reflection of the other person's behavior, rather than a judgment of your worth. How to reframe. View the humiliator as insecure. Often, people who humiliate others are doing so because they themselves feel small or powerless. Instead of seeing their words as a judgment of your value, see them as a projection of their insecurities. This perspective helps to neutralize the impact of their words, as you can see them for what they really are, an attempt to make themselves feel superior by diminishing others. See it as an opportunity for growth. Instead of feeling victimized, reframe the experience as an opportunity to develop emotional resilience. Every difficult situation is a chance to grow stronger, to practice patience, emotional control, and grace under pressure. By changing how you view the humiliation, you can take the sting out of it and turn it into a valuable learning experience. Detach your identity from the incident. Remember that being humiliated does not define who you are. Your self-worth is independent of others' opinions. Reframing the situation means recognizing that the humiliator's words have no real power over you unless you allow them to. Breathing and grounding techniques. Breathing and grounding techniques are incredibly effective in moments of emotional intensity. These practices help you recenter and calm your mind, making it easier to respond in a composed and rational way. Deep breathing. Deep breathing is one of the simplest and most powerful techniques to calm your nervous system. Breathe in through your nose for a count of 4, hold for 4, and exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 4. Repeat this process several times until you feel your heart rate slow and your emotions settle. Grounding. Grounding techniques help you reconnect with your body and the present moment. A simple grounding technique involves noticing the sensation of your feet on the ground. Focus on how your feet feel against the floor, the pressure of your feet against the earth. This brings you back to the present moment and can help you regain emotional stability. Visualization. Imagine yourself as a tree with roots extending deep into the earth. With each breath, picture yourself becoming more anchored, more centered, and less affected by the external chaos. This technique helps you feel solid and unmovable in the face of emotional upheaval. By using these techniques, you can keep your emotional state under control, no matter how intense the humiliation or conflict. Breathing, grounding, and reframing are keys to maintaining emotional strength and composure when everything around you feels chaotic. Number 6, exerting control over the situation. The high road is not just a moral choice, it's a strategic one. When someone humiliates you, it can feel tempting to fight back, to put them in their place, or to retaliate with equal force. But the power of taking the high road is that it positions you as the bigger person, someone who rises above the situation instead of being dragged into petty conflict. By choosing to stay calm, composed, and graceful, you not only maintain your dignity, but you also make it clear to others that you are not vulnerable to manipulation or emotional outbursts. Taking the high road strengthens your social standing because people respect those who don't engage in toxic drama. When you avoid being pulled into the emotional chaos of a humiliating situation, you maintain your integrity and leave others with the impression that you are emotionally mature and in control. The high road is also the road to lasting respect. People will remember that you were the one who kept your composure and didn't sink to the level of petty retaliation. This earns you admiration, not only from those who witnessed the situation, but also from people who will look to you as someone who handles conflict with wisdom and dignity. Shifting the power dynamics. In group settings, humiliation can feel like a power struggle. The person humiliating you is trying to establish dominance by making you feel small. But you have the power to shift those dynamics and take the control back. How to subtly shift the power back to you. Maintain steady eye contact. Eye contact is a powerful tool in asserting your confidence. By holding the gaze of the person who humiliated you without being confrontational, you send a message that their words do not have the power to intimidate you. Use non-reactive body language. By maintaining your composure and not reacting defensively, you automatically shift the power in your favor. The more unshaken you are, the more control you demonstrate over the situation. Silence is your ally. As discussed earlier, silence is incredibly powerful. When you don't react, you remove the humiliator's ability to control the narrative. By remaining calm and quiet, you subtly signal that their attempt to undermine you has failed. People respect individuals who don't allow themselves to be manipulated or intimidated. You shift the dynamic from one of humiliation to one of dignity and power. When others see that you can handle conflict with poise, they are far more likely to respect you and defer to your leadership. Keeping your reputation intact. Your reputation is one of your most valuable assets, and handling humiliation with class and strength will go a long way in building that reputation. Your response to difficult situations shapes how others perceive you. When you maintain your composure, even in the face of intense humiliation, you demonstrate that you are someone who is worth admiring. Over time, people will come to associate you with emotional strength and resilience. You will become known as someone who does not let external circumstances dictate their sense of self-worth. This not only strengthens your position in social dynamics, but it also attracts respect and admiration from others. In the long term, the social rewards of handling humiliation with dignity are immense. Your reputation as someone who can remain calm under pressure and respond thoughtfully to challenges will ensure that you're seen as a leader, someone who commands respect in any situation. Your emotional resilience becomes a cornerstone of your social standing, and people will gravitate towards you for guidance, respect, and leadership. Number 7, turning the situation to your advantage. Every humiliating moment offers a unique opportunity for growth. It may not feel like it in the moment, but humiliation can be a powerful catalyst for personal transformation. Think about it. When you're faced with a situation that challenges your sense of self-worth, you have two choices. You can let it crush you, or you can use it to build strength. When you face humiliation head-on and respond with grace, it forces you to examine your own emotional resilience. The very fact that you're able to handle a difficult situation without losing your cool is a testament to your inner strength. It might hurt in the moment, but over time, you'll notice that each experience of humiliation builds your emotional muscles, making you better equipped to handle future challenges with even greater poise. In these moments, take time to reflect on what you can learn. Are there aspects of yourself that you can improve upon? Is there a way you could communicate more effectively or stand up for yourself with more confidence? Instead of viewing humiliation as a negative experience, see it as an opportunity to refine your self-respect and personal growth. Each time you face humiliation and respond with composure, you reinforce the idea that no external circumstance can dictate your sense of worth. This is the key to growing stronger mentally, emotionally, and even socially. When you choose not to let humiliation define you, You gain a deeper understanding of who you are and what you're capable of, transforming the pain of humiliation into a lesson. Self-reflection. Take the time to process the experience. Ask yourself, what triggered me in this situation? What can I learn from this moment? Resilience building. Every time you rise above humiliation, you become more resilient. You develop the mental and emotional fortitude to face challenges with grace. Increased self-respect. When you maintain your dignity under pressure, you reinforce your self-respect, knowing that you didn't allow someone else's actions to lower your sense of worth. Humiliation becomes an invaluable tool for personal growth if you allow it to be. Use it as a stepping stone to become stronger, more confident, and more self-aware. The more you grow from these experiences, the more invincible you will feel when faced with adversity in the future. Shifting public perception. When someone humiliates you in front of others, the public aspect of the situation can feel even more overwhelming. But here's the secret. How you handle it will directly influence how others perceive you. If you handle the situation with silence, dignity, and intelligence, you immediately shift the narrative in your favor. The people watching you will see your composure, and they will associate you with strength, wisdom, and emotional maturity. Instead of leaving a group of people feeling awkward or uncomfortable because of your reaction, you provide them with a powerful example of how to handle adversity with grace. Let's be real. People tend to respect those who can maintain control in difficult situations. When you show restraint, self-respect, and intelligence, you don't just recover from the humiliation, you increase your social value. You teach those around you that you're a person of dignity who doesn't engage in petty drama. Your actions speak louder than words, and they send the message that you can't be easily rattled or manipulated. How to turn the situation around. Keep your composure. When you respond with grace, others will see you as someone who can handle pressure. This instantly raises your social status. Don't react emotionally. Let the other person's words and actions fall away from you. When you avoid taking it personally, you become untouchable, and others begin to view you with respect. Be the bigger person. By not engaging in a battle of words or retaliating with aggression, you show that you are emotionally mature and above such tactics. This boosts your reputation and social standing. The ripple effect of your actions is powerful. People admire those who don't let challenges overwhelm them. And when you handle humiliation with grace, you not only win the respect of those directly involved, but you also inspire others. Your ability to remain composed sets a precedent for how others should act when faced with adversity. The ripple effect. One of the most powerful things about handling humiliation with dignity is the ripple effect it creates. Your calmness and composure have the potential to influence others and inspire them to respond similarly when faced with their own challenges. People watch how you handle the situation and they learn from your actions. When you rise above humiliation, others take note and they begin to internalize the message that it's possible to maintain one's integrity, even in difficult situations. In a way, your response becomes a form of leadership, whether or not you realize it. You set an example for others to follow. This is the true power of emotional maturity, your ability to influence those around you. By demonstrating self-control and grace, you create a social environment where others feel empowered to do the same. This type of positive influence spreads, and soon, people begin to look to you as someone who can handle challenges, maintain respect, and influence situations for the better. How your actions ripple out. Inspiring others. When people see you respond to humiliation with grace, they are likely to feel more confident in handling their own challenges in the future. Creating a positive cycle. Your strength can empower others to stay composed when they're humiliated, creating a culture of mutual respect and emotional resilience. Elevating the group dynamic. Your example elevates the standards for how people treat each other and how they handle difficult emotions, leading to a more respectful and mature environment for everyone. By handling humiliation with poise, you not only maintain your own dignity, but also become a beacon of resilience and grace for those around you. The ripple effect of your actions spreads far beyond the immediate situation. Conclusion. the ultimate power move. Let's take a moment to summarize the most powerful lessons from today's discussion. Silence is one of the most effective tools you have when faced with humiliation. By staying silent, you project control, confidence, and emotional maturity. Silence shifts the power dynamics in your favor, allowing you to take back control without reacting emotionally. Dignity is your foundation. No matter how someone tries to humiliate you, if you refuse to engage in petty arguments or insults, you maintain your self-respect. Your body language, your calm demeanor, and your ability to manage your emotions will communicate strength to others, making them respect you more. Strategic intelligence in responding to humiliation involves knowing when to speak, when to stay silent, and how to use humor or wit to diffuse tension. Your response, whether verbal or nonverbal, can shape the narrative in your favor, boosting your reputation as someone who handles challenges with grace and intelligence. The long-term benefits of responding to humiliation with composure and control are immense. You not only win the immediate respect of those around you, but you also set the stage for lasting admiration and influence in future interactions. Now it's time to take these principles and apply them to your life. The next time you face humiliation, remember that you have the power to control how others perceive you. You can choose to react emotionally, or you can rise above the situation with dignity, grace, and strength. By doing so, you'll command respect not only in the moment, but also in the long term. Understand that no one can truly humiliate you unless you allow it. You have the power to decide how you react to every challenge that comes your way. When you respond with emotional maturity, resilience, and intelligence, you earn the respect of others and set yourself up for success. No one can diminish your worth unless you let them. Humiliation is a temporary moment, but your response to it will echo long after the incident. The way you carry yourself in times of adversity will shape your reputation and define the level of respect you earn. Stay strong, stay dignified, and stay in control, because that is the ultimate power move. Your inner strength, your ability to rise above, and your unwavering self-respect are what truly define you. Go out into the world knowing that you are untouchable when you decide to handle every challenge with grace and emotional maturity. You are powerful, you are respected, and you control how others see you.